So you see, they have their hopes up. And then suddenly, a voice says to them, taste the burning, and we'll give you nothing extra except for more burning, more torture. That's all you will get extra. And we mentioned last week, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لَابِثِينَ فِيهَا أَحْقَابًا. They will live therein, they will stay inside and reside inside of hellfire. أَحْقَابًا, which means really in the end, ages and decades and time after time, and a time never ends. And remember when we said ahqab is a plural of huqub, and huqub is like 80,000 years. Allah says plural of these, and we said it equals out to probably about millions and 80 million years. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in other words that they will stay there forever and ever, and they will never ever come out, ever. Their hopes grow, but then they are put back in. They wait for extra time, but the extra time only gives them more punishments. There is no days to look forward to, because the days that are coming are just never ending. And Allah says, وَهُمْ يَصْطَرِخُونَ فِيهَا رَبَّنَا أَخْرِجْنَا مِنْهَا فَإِنْ عُدْنَا فَإِنَّا ظَالِمُونَ. And they scream out inside of it, screaming out and crying, oh our Lord, take us out of it. For if we return back to the same sinful way that we used to do, then truly we are oppressive people to ourselves. Allah says in the Quran, did we not give you enough years and time for you to live in? And we did not give you enough of our message and our verses and our signs for you to come back? And did we not warn you of this day and command you? And sent you the messengers to warn you? And take heed of what you're meant to take heed of. And they say yes. So then the angels say to them, so taste, and you will taste nothing extra except for more punishment and torment. And there are, as we said, their skin is extremely thick. In one hadith, which is a true hadith, a normal person inside of hellfire, we said that there are different types of punishment, so therefore people are in different stages and levels. A normal person inside of hellfire, his back tooth is the size of Uhud, a mountain. Or one of his teeth is the size of a mountain. His skin is so thick that it takes a person like the distance of 42 meters. That's the thickness of his skin. 42 meters. And his seating position is from Mecca to Medina. About a 7-hour drive. At 80 or 100 kilometers an hour. For 7 hours, the thickness of their skin. In another hadith, it's a travel for some of them, others of them, it's a travel of 3 days for a person who is riding on a horse and galloping very fast. Thickness of the skin. This is because so they may burn slower and they may feel the punishment even more. Every time the skin is burnt, another layer of skin is placed on, and there are 7 layers. And so they scream, and they wail, and they call out to the guardian of hellfire. His name is Malik. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us this image as well in the Quran, they say, وَقَالُوا يَا مَالِكُ لِيَقْضِ عَلَيْنَا رَبُّكَ. And they will call out and say, oh Malik, ask your Lord to perish us. We no longer want to live. And after 1,000 years, in one narration, the reply comes to them. 1,000 years, no reply comes to them, but finally it is said to them, قَالَ إِنَّكُمْ مَاكِثُونَ. He will say to them, you are to stay as you are in there. No release, no coming out. Hope, but then misery, and your requests may not be granted. And the reply after 1,000 years. After that reply, no more replies come back. No more replies come back. And Allah says in the Quran, وَيَأْتِيهِ الْمَوْتُ مِنْ كُلِّ مَكَانٍ وَمَا هُوَ بِمَيِّتٍ. And death comes to them, comes to a person in hellfire. Death from all sides come to him, but he never dies. All the reasons that a person needs to die, all the reasons that cause death, all the punishments and tortures, all the things that cause a person to die in this normal world, they come to a person in hellfire, and they burn them, and they torture them, and they are meant to die, but they do not die. Imagine that. Imagine being in this life, a person who is burning, really, fire is burning them. You think to yourself, well, the person who's getting burnt, yes, he is in so much pain, and the only thing he hopes for now is either the fire stops or that he dies in the end. Because death is his only way out of the pain or cure. Well, imagine being burnt and there is no hope of even death. No death, no relaxation, no end. Just burning after burning after burning. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save us from that. Allah says in the Quran, فَسَوْفَ يَلْقَوْنَ غَيًّا, they shall surely meet a terrible wrath called Ghay. And Ghay is another valley inside of Jahannam. There are many valleys in Jahannam, and the valleys are the worst, because they're dark, they're scary, they're tormenting. They've got different types of creatures and punishments, and there are different faces and horrors, and they are deep, deep down. The deeper you go, the more heat it is. فَسَوْفَ يَلْقَوْنَ غَيًّا. And there is also a mountain in there called Sa'ud. Allah says, سَأُرْهِقُهُ صَعُودًا, I shall make him, the person of hellfire. Some people will be placed they will be thrown from a mountain which is called Sa'ud. It takes a person 40 years to fall from the top to the bottom. And the deeper they go, the more heat it is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes other things in Jahannam, such as coffins made of steel and iron, and coffins made of the coal of fire, and coffins made of iron, steel, and inside of them are filled with coals of fire. People in Jahannam, some of them will be put inside of those coffins to burn in that darkness, and they scream and yell. There are some of the people inside who will have their intestines dragging, and they scream from the pain. And some of them have their mouths wide open with pus and blood coming out from inside of them. What kind of pain are they feeling? And they scream. And there are some of them who eat from their flesh, from their sides. They're eating away from their sides. They eat their meat and it burns inside of them. And there are some people whose mouths are wide open and coals of fire are thrown into their mouth, and they burn everything inside of them, and they come out from their anuses. These, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, these are the believers who believed in Allah, yet they committed so many sins in their life and never repented. Naam, they have a different type of a torture. The ones who are in the coffins, then some of them are the ones who used to assist and help oppressors. You know of somebody who oppresses his family or his relatives, or oppresses his clan, or oppresses his people, or oppresses even animals. Those who help them, in coffins in hellfire burning. Other types of people who are in the coffins, they are the ones who used to show off their pride over other people. Used to think that they are the best, better than other people, and look down upon others. Others amongst the Muslims who are placed inside of the coffins, then they are a type of people. Then they are a type of people who used to walk around taking the wealth of others by cheating and by lying and by making something appear that which is not, in order to cheat people. And so they did not pay back what they owed to the people that they had taken from them. It also means those who are in debt and could have paid their debt but did not, or did not leave a bequest behind them for others to pay their debts on their behalf. They are the people who are not loyal to their trusts, not loyal to their promises to the people when they borrowed an amana, a trust from them. A coffin is for them from amongst the people of the believers. Another type of people who will also scream in there, as we said, and the people of hellfire get annoyed and scared from their screaming. They are a people whose intestines are dragging behind them. and these types of people who their intestines are dragging behind them, then they are the people who used to urinate, and they didn't clean themselves after urination. They prayed with their urination, and they kept themselves in this najasa. Yes, they are from the people